Hi, my name is Jen Dent and welcome to the YouTube channel for Project Consent. Former Stanford University student Brock Turner was found guilty on June 2nd of sexually assaulting an intoxicated, unconscious female at a frat party. He was sentenced to 6 months in a county jail with probation. The judge said that he feared that a longer sentence would have a severe impact on Turner. He's a champion swimmer at Stanford, and the judge was worried about how this would affect his future career in swimming. State officials have argued that that sentence was way too lenient, and there's been a huge public outcry on social media regarding this case. On the night that the assault happened in January of 2015, two students were biking across campus and came upon Brock Turner thrusting his body upon an unconscious female. And so on June 2nd in court, his victim finally addressed him face to face and said what she had to say. And she provided her statement to BuzzFeed News. It's a very long statement, so I won't read it all here, but I do want to point out some of what she said. She started off by saying, "Your Honor, if it's all right, I'd like to address the defendant directly." And she turned to him and she said, "You don't know me, but you've been inside of me. And that's why we're here today." In the statement, she talks about how her sister wanted her to go to a party and she decided that she would go. She was gonna have fun. She was a little older than the rest of the kids who would be at the party, but her younger sister was visiting for the weekend and she just wanted to go out and have a good time. She says, "I called myself Big Mama because I knew I would be the oldest one there. I made silly faces, I let my guard down, and I drank liquor way too fast, not factoring in that my tolerance had significantly lowered since college." She goes on to say that the next thing she remembers is waking up on a gurney in a hallway. She was covered in dried blood and bandages. She said she had pine needles coming out of her hair. And she didn't know what had happened to her. She thought, maybe I got way too drunk and fell down. Maybe I hit my head. She says that a policeman told her, "You've been assaulted." And she thought, well, he must be talking to someone else. She said that she got up to go to the bathroom, and it was then that she realized what had happened to her. She says, "When I was finally allowed to use the restroom, I pulled down the hospital pants they had given me, went to pull down my underwear, and I felt nothing. I still remember the feeling of my hands touching my skin and grabbing nothing. I looked down and there was nothing. The thin piece of fabric, the only thing between my vagina and anything else, was missing, and everything inside of me was silenced. I still don't have words for that feeling." She then goes on to describe the next few hours in that hospital, which consisted of her having to have a rape kit done. She talks about the shock that she was in. She talks about not being able to believe that this had happened to her. She talks about seeing all of the dried blood and the dirt and the leaves in her hair and the swabs that were done of her vagina and her anus and the cold blue paint that they had to put in her vagina to check her for abrasions. She talks about having a camera pointed between her legs and a photograph taken of her vagina. She was afraid. She was devastated. She didn't want to believe that this had happened to her. She says sometime later she was told that she had been found behind a dumpster. She had been found unconscious behind a dumpster. She had been found with her bra pulled out of her dress behind a dumpster. Her dress pulled up to her breasts and her vagina laying out for everyone to see behind a dumpster. She says, "I didn't know this person, but his fingers had been inside me. I didn't know this person, but he had done these things to me that were unthinkable. And I did not know this person." The two guys that were on their bicycles that came upon this and saw it happening scared Brock Turner, and he turned around to run away from what he was doing. They grabbed him and held him for the police. It is said that one of the students could not even tell the police what had just happened because he was too busy crying from the disgusting thing that he had just witnessed. The victim talks in this statement about thinking, "There's no way we'll go to trial. These two students happened upon him. They saw it. He tried to run away. They stopped him. There was dirt in my vagina. There was, abrasions all over my body. There's no way this will go to trial. He's going to apologize. He's going to get in trouble. And that's going to be that. And I'm just really going to try to move on with my life." But we all know that is never how it really happens, does it? The night after it happened, Turner said that he didn't know her. He'd never met her. He didn't know who she was. He could not pick her out from a lineup if he tried. No, he does not remember any consent happening. He just remembers dancing and a little bit of kissing. He doesn't know how they got behind the dumpster, but he knows for sure that he had no plans to take her back to his dorm room. A year later, his story changed. The girl who was raped by Brock Turner says that she was victimized over and over again during this trial process. A year later, Brock Turner suddenly said that yes, there was consent, that the two of them talked that night, that there was dancing and kissing, and that they had plans to go back to his dorm room. Remember, he said he had no plans for that last year? Well, this year, he remembers everything. Of course you do, Brock. But the victim brings up a really good question. Hey Brock, how come if there was consent and you weren't worried about anything you were doing, when those two dudes came upon you with their bicycles and saw that you were doing, why'd you run away? And when they stopped you, why didn't you say, hey, she's okay, everything's fine, don't worry? None of that happened, did it, Brock? The victim says that, of course, as always, her personal life got drudged up, her dating life got drudged up. She was asked all sorts of questions which had nothing to do with this person attacking her. But that always happens, doesn't it? That's the way it goes. Some of the questions that she was asked, and there is a long list, but I like the way she puts it, and I'll shorten it for you. What does this text mean? Who were you texting? When did you urinate? Where did you urinate? With whom did you urinate outside? Was your phone on silent when your sister called? Do you remember silencing it? Really? Because on page 53, I'd like to point out that you said it was set to ring. Did you drink in college? You said you were a party animal. How many times did you black out? Did you party at frats? Are you serious with your boyfriend? Are you sexually active with him? When did you start dating? Would you ever cheat? Do you have a history of cheating? What do you mean when you said you wanted to reward him? Do you remember what time you woke up? Were you wearing your cardigan? What color was your cardigan? Do you remember any more from that night? No? Okay, well, we'll let Brock fill it in. Brock Turner was found guilty. 12 jurors found him guilty of 3 felony counts. Brock Turner blames all of this on alcohol. He says, she was drunk, I was drunk, I made a mistake. Brock Turner then went on to say that he was trying to establish a program for high school and college students in which he was going to go around and speak about his experience in college and to speak out about the college campus drinking culture and the sexual promiscuity that goes along with it. As the victim says in her statement, it's okay to drink. Hey, we've all done it. We've all been there. Should we be drinking underage? No, but we all have done it. But you know what? We haven't all raped someone when we were under the influence of alcohol. And that's where you and me, Brock, are different. That's where the majority of us are different from you, Brock. Brock said he wanted to show people that one night of drinking can ruin your life. No, Brock. One night of raping someone can ruin your life. When someone is unconscious, when someone is intoxicated, when someone is unable to drive a vehicle, when someone is stumbling and falling down behind a dumpster at a frat party, that is not the time to have sex with them. But it's not just what you did that night. It's what you and your legal team have done after the fact. It's what the judge has done after the fact. But the judge said, you know what, hey, he did rape someone and I understand that was bad, but you know what, he's a really good swimmer and I would really hate to ruin his potential career. What about the victim? What about her potential life that she had going on before Brock Turner raped her in the dirt behind a dumpster? Oh, but if you haven't heard, the story gets worse because Dan Turner, Brock's daddy, he wrote a letter. He's upset about the ruling and he's upset about the sentence that his poor little boy has gotten with 6 months in a county jail with probation. In his letter, he says, as it stands now, Brock's life has been deeply altered forever by the events of January 17th and 18th. He will never be his happy-go-lucky self. He mentions Brock's easygoing personality and his welcoming smile. He talks about how Brock used to love to eat steak and chips and pretzels and now poor Brock is just so upset that he can hardly enjoy these delicious meals that Daddy liked to cook for him in the past. He says the verdicts have broken Brock and shattered him and he'll never live the life that he thought he was going to have. He's never gonna have the things that he worked so hard to achieve. I mean, poor Brock, he has to register as a sex offender just for 20 minutes of action. Just for 20 minutes out of one night that Brock made a mistake because he was drinking. It's only 20 minutes. That's what Daddy says. He says Brock could go out and educate people on drinking and how it ruins your life and you know, he can't do that on probation. 20 minutes, sir? Only 20 minutes? Are you fucking serious? Do you not understand that for the victim, this has gone on for way longer than 20 minutes? Sir, have you ever had dirt and pine needles in your vagina? Have you ever been raped behind a dumpster? Have you ever awakened on a gurney in a hospital and had to have a rape exam done that lasted at least 3 hours? Sir, have you ever been told that you would have to be rechecked for HIV because it doesn't always show up on the first test? Oh, what a fun wait that is, and I think it takes longer than 20 minutes, I'm pretty sure. And what I'm about to say, I don't want to add to rape culture. I don't want to say that it's okay for people to be raped in prison, because it is not. And anyone that says, oh hey, I want that person to be raped in prison, I understand where you're coming from, because I used to say that kind of thing too. You think, oh hey, you know, what's good for him to do to someone else is okay for it to be done to him. But really, that does not help anything. Perpetuating rape does not help a rapist. A rapist being raped does not help a rapist. But let me ask a question, Mr. Turner. How would your son feel being raped for only 20 minutes? I don't think he'd like that, sir. And I think you're a complete jackass for writing this. I don't even call this parenting. I don't know what you call this. If your son had murdered someone and it only took him 20 minutes, would you write this same letter? Or is it because he stuck his penis in an unconscious girl and he was drinking? And you know, boys just do dumb things when they're drinking. You're not helping your son. You're not helping anyone by writing this, and this is garbage. The last thing that the victim said in her statement is, to the girls out there everywhere, I am with you. On the nights that you feel alone, I'm with you. When people doubt and dismiss you, I am with you. And we here at Project Consent, we want to say to this victim, we are with you. And we thank you for saying the things that you've said and for standing up and facing him head on and saying these things. We cannot thank you enough. This has ignited a flame across this country, and people are taking notice. And it takes terrible things like this to happen for everyone to stand up and say, he did what? Why would you do that? Why would he only get 6 months? Why would his father write a piece of shit statement like that to a judge? It makes no sense. But you know what? None of this makes sense. The only thing we can do is band together, and the people that ask, what can I do? What you can do is explain to people what is consent. Consent is yes. If there's anything other than a yes, it's a no. It's as simple as that. If you see something happening and you feel like you should step in and say something, then do it. You're not always going to get the best results from it. You're not always going to be the popular person for doing it, but you may stop something like this from happening. Young people, if you're at a party and you see someone, girl or boy, stumbling around drunk, and you see someone else, girl or boy, coming up to them and starting to touch them inappropriately or maybe lead them away to a different area, stop them, step in, please help. You never know who the next person is going to be that wakes up on a gurney with pine needles in her hair and dirt in her vagina. Please don't let that happen. If you see something like that going on, please step in and stop it. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'm the new vlogger for Project Consent right now. We're going to be putting up videos at least once a month, maybe twice. Please check back in. Thank you so much, and I hope everyone has a great day.